Okay, honestly, the episode just started out just like I thought it was going to start out. I mean, incredibly, incredible feelings of just hopelessness in the first couple minutes of the show. I mean, you have Marcel kind of talking about how she doesn't know what's going to go on, what's going to happen, and that she can really only do what she is set up to do, and she's just going to give it her best. And then as it shows up in the beginning, it works out for like 5 seconds with them blocking the dragon's firepower, and then they lose the pan. Like there's like the only thing that they have, and somehow they didn't think about how the pan would get hot. Like they said, like they thought it was just gonna completely repel the dragon fire, and they were able to get away, but they weren't. The problem with going on is that they're not able to get the dragon worn down, and because that was the key part of being able to hold the dragon under the weight of the building. Like the dragon's huge. Like I mean, it's massive. Think about it like a bear. I mean, if you had only a shield to guard you from a bear, and then the bear hits you, and the shield it works, like it blocks you from getting hit, but then the shield flies out of your hand, and now the only thing you all had to do was to trap it under, I don't know, some logs. And I know this is a terrible analogy, but stay with me. And so you're able to get away by dodging it through the trees like they were with the buildings. But when you get to the people that are trying to trap it with the thing, they're just like, well, all right, we're just going to do what I can do. And they drop it. And there you go. And it just doesn't work. The dragon was not wore out. There was just nothing, like no part of that was gonna work. And the utter like terror part of the show is when basically the dragon is like over top of Shinji, Chilichuk, and Lyles, and they're just like, well, we're about to die. Don't move. And then Kensuke about kills them all. I mean, shakes it, and then the sword goes away, so now they don't have a sword. And then Shinji loses the only other weapon they have by smashing it on his foot. Like that was going to work. We already knew that. I mean, I probably would have done the same thing, but we already knew that nothing works on these things except for the whatever the material that is. I can't remember. And then it was honestly really funny, but when they stabbed the dragon with the kitchen knife in the foot, like obviously the only thing it's going to do is piss it off. I mean, that's kind of like you walking down the stairs and kicking your foot into the doorway. If you've ever done that, it's awful. Don't recommend. But yeah, of course, it's just gonna freak out and get even more mad. But I mean, I told you guys if you watched the last one and you're watching this one, I told you Chilichuk had to play a bigger part in defeating the dragon than he was letting on. I mean, I don't want to take away from Shinji. Like he definitely played a role. Like he was able to get Lyos' sword and get it back to Lyos. Like without that, there's not a way to kill the dragon in the end. But I mean, Chilichuk straight up blinds the dragon in the left eye. And again, like without that, there's nothing that can be done. I mean, when we'll talk about it in a second, but when Lyles jumps off of the building, I mean the dragon's just like I mean, it goes right down the pipe. It's done and over with. So lastly, just the finisher with when Lyles is jumping off. I mean, you could just see that he was totally motivated and dedicated and resolved in that image. It should be here, but you just knew something was going to happen. I thought his plan was crazy. Well, I don't really know if it was his plan. What do you guys think? To get like bit and so he could fall under there? Because I don't really see another way how he could do it. Like in my mind, he meant to get his leg bitten because he was talking about how Fallen went through worse. What do you guys think in the comments? Like, do you think he meant to get his leg stuck in the dragon, or do you think that just kind of happened? I have no idea. But then he like slings under and stabs it, and I thought it was great. And then I mean, the last part of the show that just it's kind of the finishing up of the show was exactly what I was afraid of. That Fallen was more than likely already dead because I mean there was multiple things pointing to it. Now I'm fully aware this is just all we know. Like it's a lot of times the shows do this where it's made to look like they're actually dead. I'm still not 100% like believe that she's dead because I watch One Piece, and One Piece has ruined people dying for me. But other than that, I mean, they find they find nothing in the intestines. They find a strand of hair, which, well, let's go back to the intestines for a second. I mean, because again, it's up and moving. We talked about this in the last episode. Animals, when you're up and moving, including us, need more fuel, so it's going to move the food and absorb food faster, so that way we can get more energy. So they find nothing in the intestines. Then they open the sack where the dragon keeps the stuff it can't digest for fuel. They find the hair, they find a skull, and then they find her staff. And then you have the backstory. One, it was great. I loved the little scene where Falin and Lyles are sitting in the bed and they're like, "Yeah, we're going to adventure together." It was so cute. It was adorable. But then in the end, where she was like, "Maybe it's best we don't follow each other anymore." I mean, about made me cry. Because I was like, yeah, I mean, in my mind right now, Fallen is dead.